Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Welcome to the day 2 of DevOps course. Can you hear me? If yes, please type yes in the chat box as a confirmation. The chat is open now. If you can hear me, please type yes in the chat box as a confirmation. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your confirmations. Thank you very much. Let us stop. Let us stop the chat. So what is our plan for today? We all know that we are learning DevOps, isn't it? So we are all joined to learn this technology called DevOps. Participants, we can learn this DevOps. DevOps is a collection of tools. In the previous session, we have just listed out what are the tools which are covering. DevOps, we can learn it on AWS platform. We can learn DevOps on Microsoft Azure. Is it? We can also learn DevOps on GCP as well. The tools will remain the same. We can implement on AWS, we can implement on Microsoft Azure, we can implement on GCP. Okay, but our course, I hope we are all clear. So we are learning DevOps on AWS. This is what we are learning. We are learning DevOps on AWS cloud platform. So we should all have an AWS account to practice, to perform hands-on on all the DevOps tools. We should have an AWS account because we will be executing, we'll be installing all the DevOps tools on AWS cloud. So we should have an AWS account. I'm sure most of you are already having an AWS account, but for the participants who are completely new to AWS, for the sake of the participants who are completely new to AWS, we'll spend some time. I'll be showing you how to create a new AWS account. So if you're not having an AWS account, immediately after the session, please go ahead and create a new AWS account. Okay, so a plan for today is to learn the process of creating a new AWS account. The prerequisite for DevOps is Linux. The prerequisite for DevOps is Linux. So we'll be creating a Linux environment on AWS cloud. We'll be connecting to Linux machine. You'll also learn how can we connect Linux machine using the terminal called putty, and we'll get started with the Linux commands. This is our plan for today. As usual, before moving on, any questions? Participants, please raise your hand. Any questions on the concepts what we have discussed in the previous session, or you have any questions to be discussed, please raise your hand. Okay, so let's get started. Let's learn the process of creating a new AWS account. So if anyone asks you what is AWS, especially for the beginners who are completely new to AWS, if anyone asks you what is AWS, AWS is a cloud platform. Don't worry about this technical jargons. AWS is a cloud platform. Okay. AWS is a cloud platform, which is nothing but collection of services. Which is collection of services. So AWS is a cloud platform, which is collection of services. Okay, so let's experience how the AWS looks like. Before showing you how to create a new AWS account, I already have an AWS account. I already have AWS account. So I'll log into AWS, especially for the newcomers, and I'll explain you how the AWS services. I said AWS is collection of services. Where can we see list of all the services? Let's experience the AWS cloud. The URL is aws.amazon.com. Sign in. I already have AWS account, so I'm logging in with my account. Sign in with email. AWS is a collection of services. This is the page what you get the moment you sign in. If you want to see list of services, can you see here we have options called services. So these are all the list of services. Okay, these are all list of categories. Okay, so and under analytics we have close to 20 services. Under blockchain we have one service. Under financial management we have three services. Under compute we have these many number of services. Under containers we have these many number of services. Under databases we have these services. So close to 200 services, approximately 200 services AWS offers. So a platform, a platform which is nothing but a collection of services is AWS cloud. You have experienced how the AWS cloud looks like. Okay, so if you have a question, what do you mean by service? Especially for the newcomers, you may have a question. Sunil, you said that it's a collection of services. That's fine, but what do you mean by service? We'll give a simple example to understand what do you mean by service. We all use Google Drive, right? We all use Google Drive, isn't it? So what is Google Drive? It's a storage service. What is Google Drive? It's a storage service. So any utility which is provided to you, to the customers over the internet, okay, is nothing but a service. So if you store, you can store documents and images in the Google Drive. So, and it is not stored in your personal laptop. Anything which is not stored in your personal laptop is nothing but stored in cloud. That's the meaning of cloud, nothing special. You have some 10 photos, you upload the 10 photos in Google Drive, okay? Then you can format your laptop, but your photos remain the same because your photos are not stored in your laptop. It is stored in the Google Drive. So anything which is not stored in your personal laptop, that's nothing but stored in the Google Drive. That's called storing in cloud, and you can access it over the internet. So any utility which is provided as form of a service and which is offered over the internet is nothing but a service. So close to 200 services AWS provides. So it's a platform which is nothing but a collection of services offered over the internet. That's the very simple meaning of the term called AWS. Okay, now as we all have experienced AWS, so let's quickly go ahead and learn the process of creating a new AWS account. Let me sign out. Let me sign out. Okay, now let's go back to the same URL, aws.amazon.com. Sign in. Sign in if you have an AWS account. If you're not having an AWS account, here we have an option of clearly create a new AWS account. Please proceed and go ahead and create a new AWS account. So before going ahead and creating a new AWS account, to create a new AWS account, you should have an email address. To create an AWS account, you should have an email address. That's okay. All of us are having email addresses. That's fine. You should have a mobile number. That's also not a problem. We all have a mobile number. If you're having two mobile numbers, if you're maintaining two mobile numbers, two SIM cards, please use a mobile number which is linked to your bank account. Please use a mobile number. In case if you are having multiple mobile numbers, please use the mobile number which is linked to your bank account. You should have a debit card or credit card. All right. These are the three details what you should have it before going ahead and creating a new AWS account. We all have a debit card. That's not a problem. The credit card could be a problem, but we all have a debit card. We have an email address, we have a mobile number, we have a debit card, credit card. If you have all these details with you, you can go ahead and create a new AWS account. The URL is aws dot, as I have just now mentioned, the aws.amazon.com, and go ahead and create a new AWS account. Okay, so go ahead and create a new AWS account. Provide your email address. Whatever the email address which you have provided here, that is called as root email. That's fine. You have to provide you have to furnish your email address. It's a step-by-step process. Creating an AWS account is close to 6-step process. I have clearly documented it. Okay, please look at this. I'll be sharing this document for you, especially as a reference if you want to go ahead and create a new AWS account. Yes. Very important point. The AWS account which you're creating now is free for 12 months. Observe, when you're creating an AWS account, you can use this AWS account free for a period of 12 months with some limitations. Okay, with some conditions. Okay, so happily you can use a AWS account with some restrictions. Okay, now to create a new AWS account, as I told you, you have to furnish your email address. You have to furnish your email address and you have to provide your login password and you have to select your AWS account name, click on continue. This is step one. I have clearly mentioned the step-by-step approach. So provide your email address in step one. So step one, we have to we have provided our email address in step one. Next step, it will ask you to provide your mobile number. Okay. So contact information. Can you see here? And very important observation. So AWS provides you two types of accounts. Can you see here? Professional account and personal account. Select personal because we are creating an AWS for our personal use, for our practice and hands-on. So select the option as personal and provide your mobile number and provide your right country. I have seen some participants provide India mobile number and leave the country as is. Okay, so you have to provide the right country and provide the mobile number. So that we have to furnish in step two. Okay, so step two, we need to furnish our mobile number. Very simple. So let's scroll down. Step three, you need to provide your debit card or credit card details. Okay, so you have to provide your card details. So this is how you have to provide your card details. Do you have PAN? You don't need to attach the PAN. That's not required. So step three, we have provided. As I told you, these are the three details you need to furnish. You need to provide your email address, mobile number, debit card. You will get an OTP to verify the debit card, what you have entered is correct or not. Observe here. A 2 rupees will be deducted from your card to verify whether the card is valid or not. Okay, so you'll get an OTP to verify your debit card. Please verify your debit card. So once you get an OTP to verify debit card, you'll get one more OTP to verify your mobile number, what you have entered. You'll get one more OTP to verify whether the you first OTP is to verify the debit card, one more OTP to verify your mobile number is valid or not. So provide you one more OTP. And then AWS provides three types of plan: basic plan, developer plan, and business plan. Basic plan is free for a period of 12 months, as I have just mentioned. So please select the basic plan. And just mention your role and mention your interested technology. Click on submit, and then you get a confirmation message. Thank you, and you get a confirmation email saying that your AWS account has been successfully created. A very important point: before proceeding with creating a new AWS account, make sure your debit card is enabled for international transactions. Okay, so your debit card should be enabled for international transactions. Okay, so if you have your internet banking, mobile banking, you can log into your internet banking, go to debit card section. There's an option called international transactions. By default, to disable, you have to enable it. Enable your card for international transactions, because the transaction of 2 rupees we're verifying with that will be an international transaction. So you should make sure that your card will be enabled for international transactions. Keep that in mind. That's it. So this is the steps. I think it's pretty easy. These are the steps which we need to follow to go ahead and create a new AWS account. Okay, perfect. Yes. Yes, Lakshman, your question, please. I can see your hand raised. Lakshman, do you have any question? Okay. If you have no questions, please drop your hand. Okay, perfect. Now we are done with creating a new AWS account. So please proceed. If you're not having an AWS account, please proceed and go ahead and create a new AWS account. What's the next plan? What is our next plan? Our next plan is to create a Linux machine on AWS. Our next plan is to create a Linux machine on AWS. Why are we creating Linux machine? Because the prerequisite, every DevOps engineer should be very comfortable with the Linux commands. Oh, you don't need to be very good at Linux administration, but a few important basic commands, and you should have some awareness on Linux environments. Okay, to fulfill that, we will be practicing some Linux commands. You need a Linux environment. Okay, so my laptop is installed with Windows. We cannot practice Linux here, so we need a Linux environment. So what we'll do, we'll create a Linux machine on AWS. In AWS is a collection of services. As I have just mentioned, we have a service called EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. We have a service called EC2, stands for Elastic Complete Cloud. So using this particular service, we can go ahead and create any machine. You can go ahead and create a Windows machine on cloud. We can go ahead and create a Linux machine on cloud. You can also create a Mac operating system. Whatever you want, you can go ahead and create on cloud using a service called as EC2. So my plan is to create a Linux machine. So our plan is to create a Linux machine on AWS cloud. Okay, so let's log into AWS. Let's quickly learn the process of creating a Linux machine. Let's get started. As usual, we already know the URL is aws.amazon.com. Sign in to the console. Always sign in using email. Provide your email address, login password. Okay. AWS is a collection of services. So you can see here on the left side top, you will find services. Under compute category, we have a service called EC2. Okay, so where in which we can create virtual servers or nothing, but we can create virtual machines on cloud. So select the machine, select the service called EC2. Instances. You do not have instances in this region. Right now, there are no instances. That means there are no machines. There are no machines. I'm going ahead and create a new machine. I can use the term called machine. I can use a term called I'm creating a new machine, or I can also use a term called I'm creating a new instance. Okay, I can also use a term called I'm creating a new server. Anything is same. All these are synonyms. I'm going ahead and create a new Linux machine. I can say it as Linux instance. I can say I can also say it as a Linux server. Okay, so I can use anything. So I'm creating a Linux machine on AWS cloud. Okay, perfect. So so this is our AWS cloud platform, which is collection of services. So now our plan is to go ahead and create a your plan is to create a Linux machine on AWS. Perfect. Okay. Okay. What are the points to be considered when you're creating a Linux machine? No doubt we're creating a Linux machine. No doubt we're creating a Linux machine. So what are the points to be considered when you're creating a Linux machine? The points what you need to consider when you're creating a Linux machine. What is the operating system you're planning to create? What is the operating system you're planning to create? You may have question. Linux itself is an operating system. Yes, you're right. Linux itself is an operating system, but in Linux we have different flavors, isn't it? We have Red Hat Linux. Okay. Okay, we have Ubuntu, flavor. Okay, we have CentOS. Okay, so we have uh, Rocky Linux, Amazon Linux. We have Amazon version of Linux. So there are different flavors of operating system in Linux. There are different types of Linux operating system. So I want to go ahead and create a Ubuntu Linux. Okay, so I'm going ahead with creating an Ubuntu machine. So I'm creating an Ubuntu Linux. In other words, I'm creating an Ubuntu Linux. So next question that comes to your mind, Sunil, that's okay. You said that you're creating a Linux machine. So question that comes to your mind, what is the hardware configuration of this Linux machine? What is the hardware configuration of the Linux machine? This means what is the memory? What is the RAM? RAM is nothing but memory. What is the memory of this particular Linux machine? What is the hard disk of this Linux machine? How much storage this is having? What is the processor of this particular Linux machine? This could be your question, isn't it? When you go to a computer peripheral shop and when you plan to buy a laptop, obviously you'll ask for your configuration. You'll ask configuration. What is the configuration of this particular laptop? Is it a 16 gigabyte RAM or 16 8 GB RAM, or is it 1 TB storage or 500 GB storage? Is it an i5 processor or an i7 processor? So you ask for the configuration. The same way, when you're creating a Linux machine, obviously you're curious to know, Sunil, what is the RAM of this Linux machine? What is the storage? What is the processor of this particular Linux machine? So all your questions will be clear. Let's go ahead and create a Linux machine. So here we have an option called launch instances. Participants, this session is especially for the new beginners. Okay, so already participants who are already having experience, that will be little boring, but especially for the consideration of participants who are completely new to AWS, for you to focus, please practice. Every day practice is key for the success. Practice is key for the success. Okay, so once the session gets completed, the concepts will be fresh. You'll have access to the recordings. That's the beauty of online. You can refer to the recordings, you can refer to the notes, and go ahead and create a practice whatever we are learning daily. So you can go ahead and create a new AWS account and go ahead and create Linux machine. So let's go ahead and launch instances. Number of instances. You can go ahead and create launch 10 instances at once, but I don't want to create 10 instances. I want to create only one instance. Name of the instance or name of the machine. I'm naming it as machine one, which is the first machine. I'm creating machine one. And here you have to select operating system. So whether it is a Windows machine or a Linux machine, in Linux, there are different flavors, isn't it? You have select the operating system. So here we have a list of options. Okay, so there are a lot of options here. You can see here Amazon Linux, Mac operating system, interesting. You can create an Apple Mac machine. You can go ahead and create a Windows machine. You can see here Windows operating system, Red Hat. Okay, we have Solaris also. You have also Solaris. So you have a lot of SUSE Linux. There are a lot of options. I want to go ahead with creating an Ubuntu. So I'm selecting an option called Ubuntu. Okay. So that is the operating system what you select. When the moment you select Ubuntu, here you get versions. You can select Ubuntu 24. Okay. You can select Ubuntu 22, whichever you want. You can go ahead and select the version. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's say, so remember the AWS account, very important point. The AWS account which we have created is a free tier account. Agree, isn't it? And I said this account is having some limitations. Can you see here? This Ubuntu 24 operating system is free tier eligible. Okay, so we can use this particular Ubuntu server, that's okay. But there are some operating systems, observe, it is not eligible for free tier. Can you see here? Can you see here this one, the third option, Ubuntu Pro is not eligible for free tier. So make sure that you are selecting an option which is eligible for free tier. Okay, same the case. For example, if you go for Windows, Windows Server 2022 is eligible for free tier, but there are few options which are not eligible for free tier. Can you see here? There are few operating systems which are not. This is Windows Server with SQL Server already installed, so it is not eligible for free tier. So please be careful when you're selecting. Please be careful when you're selecting an operating system. Make sure that it is eligible for free tier. So okay, so I'm going ahead and creating Ubuntu version 22. Okay, so I'm going ahead and selecting Ubuntu version 22. So we are clear with the operating system. So I'm creating an Ubuntu Linux of version 22. Next. What is the RAM of this particular Linux machine? What is the hard disk of the Linux machine? What is the processor of this particular Linux machine? The hardware configuration of the Linux machine is dependent on instance type. The hardware configuration of the Linux machine is dependent on instance type. There are several instance types available. We have large instances, we have extra large instances, we have micro instances, there are medium instances, there are different types of instances. You can create a Linux machine, which is a very big machine of 64 gigabyte memory and 10 terabyte of storage. You can create as small as 1 gigabyte memory and 8 GB of storage. So there are different sizes of so you have different hardware configurations based on the customer requirement. Okay, so the hardware configuration is dependent on what? It is dependent on instance type. I will be selecting an instance type. There's one instance type called T2 micro. There is one instance type called T2 micro. I'll be selecting this particular T2 micro instance. The T2 micro instance comes with the T2 micro instance comes with the T2 micro instance comes with one gigabyte memory. Okay, 1 gigabyte memory and processor. It comes with one CPU, one core CPU. Okay, so that's the T2 micro instance. Look at this instance type. Remember, I'm selecting a T2 micro instance. This T2 micro instance comes with one processor, one core processor, and 1 gigabyte memory. A very, very small instance. Okay, so that's okay. That's okay for us. So it is eligible for free tier. Let's say you say that Sunil, this is a very small instance of just 1 GB memory. I want a minimum of 8 GB memory. Yes, you can go ahead and you can select a different hardware configuration. You can see here, you can go for T2 small, which comes with 2 GB memory. You can go for T2 medium, it comes with 4 GB memory. You can go for T2 large, which comes with 8 GB memory. But these are all not eligible for free tier. Observe T2 large, T2 medium, T2 small. These are not eligible for free tier. The only instance type which is eligible for free tier is T2 micro, which comes with 1 gigabyte memory and one CPU. Okay, so this is enough for us to practice. So I'm selecting a T2 micro instance. Okay, so I hope you got the answer. So the Linux machine, what we are creating is 1 GB RAM and one core processor. Coming, coming to the hard disk, that is storage, that we'll be discussing now in the next point. Key pair. Very important point. What is key pair? When you're creating a new machine, it will ask you to download the key pair. It will ask you to download the key pair. This key pair is used for connectivity purpose. Okay, to connect to the Linux machine, this key pair is used for security reasons. Let's go ahead and create a new key pair. I'm creating a new key pair. Can you see here we have an option of creating a new key pair. The name of the key pair can be anything. I'm naming it as KP1. It can be any name. It can be your name or my name. Okay, and a key pair comes with two formats. One is PEM file, the other one is PPK file. I'm going with PPK. PPK is used for connecting using PuTTY. So what is PuTTY? I'll be explaining soon. So go for PPK. Go ahead and create a new key pair. When you create a key pair, it will ask you to download the key pair. See what's happening here? It is downloading the key pair. I want to download the key pair in D drive. Okay, I'm creating new folder, naming as 6 a.m. batch. This is 6 a.m. batch. In this particular folder, I am downloading a key pair. Observe key pair is nothing but file with extension .ppk. Yes, it has been downloaded. So, observation, in the process of creating a Linux machine, when you are creating a Linux machine, it will prompt you to create a key pair. Yes, I have created a key pair. I have downloaded the key pair. Let me show you the way key pair where it is downloaded. It is downloaded in D drive. I have just now created a folder called 6 a.m. batch. In this particular 6 a.m. batch, let me take a note of the key pair. It is KP1. I'll also take a note of it. The name of the key pair is kp1.ppk. So this is the key pair which I have downloaded, and this is the location This is just for your notes. This is the location where the key pair is downloaded. Okay, so remember this. Next, let's proceed. So key pair is downloaded. Take the default network settings. Don't change the network settings. Please take the default network settings. Perfect. And storage. Storage is nothing but the hard disk. This particular Linux machine comes with 8 GB of hard disk. Okay, that's fine. That's it. Click on launch instances review. So I'm creating an Ubuntu number of machines as one. I'm creating an Ubuntu machine of T2 micro instance with 1 GB memory, one core processor, and 8 GB of storage. That's all okay. So this is you can use 750 hours. Okay, you can use 750 hours per month free. Okay, so per month, it's not per year, it is per month. That's fine. So go ahead and create a launch instances. So the instance is launching, that means the machine is creating. So within no time, you can see a success message. Successfully, the machine has been created. Scroll down, you can have an option called view instances. Participants, previously we got a message saying that no instances found. As you can see here, we have successfully created a AWS machine. Am I clear? Please respond in the chat box, especially for the newcomers. Am I clear? The chat is open now. Am I clear in explaining you the process of creating a new AWS account? Not only creating a new AWS account, am I clear in explaining you the process of creating a Linux machine? How can we create a Linux machine in AWS? Perfect. Thank you very much. Perfect. The machine is in running state. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Let us stop. Let us stop. So key pair downloading is pretty simple. The moment you enter the key pair name and click on enter the key pair name, it will automatically prompt you for download. Okay, so please experience it. Perfect. So the machine is now running. You can see here the machine is running now. Okay. Now you can see status. Okay, it is already running. Very good. Now, my question for you, my question for you, we have created Linux machine, no doubt. My question for you, where did we create the Linux machine? Where did we create the Linux machine? Obviously, your answer would be Cyril. It's a pretty silly question. We have created AWS, Linux in AWS cloud. No doubt, yes, we have created Linux machine on AWS cloud, but in which geographical region? Where is this particular Linux machine created? Interesting point. Can you see here? You can see a city called Mumbai, isn't it? So AWS is having their data centers in Mumbai. AWS is having data centers worldwide. They are maintaining data centers in India, Mumbai. We are maintaining in US, Singapore, UK, Australia. So to provide the services to the customers all over the world, so they have created AWS cloud in data centers in all the different regions. So you can see here all the available regions of AWS. You can create the same Linux machine. We can create it in California. You can create it in Sydney. You can create it in Canada, Europe. Okay, so you can create it in any location, whichever you want. So remember, so take a note of it before going ahead and creating. Make sure remember which machine you have created. Have created in Mumbai. Let's say if you don't want to create it in Mumbai, you want to create it in Singapore. No doubt, you can select Singapore. Now I will be connected to Singapore data center. You can see here now I'm pointing to Singapore. Are there any missions? There are no missions. The machine which is created in Mumbai will not be available in Singapore. It's not displayed in Singapore. If you create it in Singapore, it's not available in Mumbai. Take a note of it. Okay, so that's just for your information purpose. So let's go back to Mumbai. So we have created a Linux machine in AWS data center at Mumbai. Okay, next point. I am based out of Hyderabad. Okay, so I'm based out of Hyderabad. Now my plan is to connect to the Linux machine, which is somewhere running in Mumbai city. I want to connect to that particular Linux machine from Hyderabad. So that's the beauty of cloud. Cloud is nothing but accessible anywhere over the internet. That's what I said in the beginning of the session. Google Drive can be accessed over the internet. In the same way, this Linux machine can also be accessed over the internet. So how to connect to the Linux machine? How to connect to the Linux machine? Okay, next. If you want to connect to the Linux machine, you need a terminal called What is putty? Putty is a terminal. It's an interface. It's a terminal, okay, which helps you to connect to the line extension. So what you have to do, you have to download putty in your laptop. Okay, so that's a terminal. Using that particular terminal, you will establish connectivity to the Linux machine so that you can practice Linux commands. So you have to download and install putty on your personal laptop so that you using the putty, you will be connecting to that Linux machine. So putty is a terminal. Okay, so let's go ahead and download putty. So how to download putty? Just open Google and search for download putty. Download putty. So select the first option, putty.org. Can you see? Select the first site, putty.org. And here you have gone down. You have an option called download putty. You will be redirected to one more website, chair.greenend.org.uk. So I'm selecting the first option as an alternative binary files, 64-bit putty.exe. I am downloading a small software where I want to download in my downloads folder. I'm downloading in my downloads folder, putty.exe. Okay, so putty is downloaded. You can see here, putty.exe file is downloaded. Where it is downloaded? It is downloaded in the downloads folder. So go to downloads folder. You can see here, this is the putty terminal which I have just now downloaded. It's a small software. It's a small software. Look at this. It's just 1.5 MB, less than 2 MB. A terminal, a very small software. So open this putty. Okay, so this is how the putty looks like. Participants, this is how the putty looks. This is a small terminal. So using this particular terminal putty, you can connect to the Linux machine. Okay, now terminal is ready. Next, how should we connect? How should we connect to the particular Linux machine? So what are the details required to connect to the Linux machine? Okay, so to connect to the Linux machine, terminal is ready, but the connection details, credentials, what you need is a user at DNS. So these are the connection details. Don't worry, I'll explain you how to connect. Very simple. Go to the AWS cloud. So you want to connect to this machine which we have just now created. Select that particular machine, and you have an option called connect, which help you to get the connection details. Click on connect. In the connection details, can you see this is the DNS EC2-15206940. This is nothing but DNS. If you're not clear what is DNS, don't worry. DNS is something like an IP address. Okay, alternative to IP address. So this is the DNS. So and this is user. User is Ubuntu. For Ubuntu operating system, the default user is Ubuntu. Ubuntu at DNS. This is the connection string. Copy. As I told you, this is the connection string. So this connection string helps you to connect to the Linux machine. So you have to copy it and enter it in the terminal putty because the putty is used for connectivity. So open putty and under host name, pick up enter user at DNS. I just now copied. Okay, so user at DNS. So that's what I have mentioned. Next, as I told you, key pair we have downloaded, and the key pair is used for connecting to Linux machine. That's what I have mentioned here. So you have to use this particular key pair. Without key pair, you cannot connect. Without key pair, you cannot connect. So you have to mention the key pair information. Okay. So where is the key pair available? Key pair is available. Key pair we have downloaded in the D drive 6am batch. You know it. Under D drive under 6am batch, this is the key pair which is available. So you have to mention this particular key pair for connectivity purpose. That you have to mention the terminal. Once you select user at DNS, go to connections. Under connections, you will find SSH. Under SSH, under auth stands for authentication, and the credentials. Okay, mention your key pair, private key. Okay, is nothing but your key pair. Go to browse. A putty needs key pair. Where is the key pair available in D drive 6 a.m. batch? And this is the key pair which is uh, available. So you have to mention this key pair. That's it. So you have mentioned the key pair and just click on open. So are you sure you want to connect to the Linux machine? Accept, yes. Participants successfully we have connected to the Linux machine. Are you able to get IP address? Let's increase the font size. Let us increase the font size for better visibility. Let us increase the font size for better visibility. Participants, you have successfully connected to the Linux machine. We have successfully connected to the Linux machine. Can you see our IP address 172.31.12.97 is the same IP address of this machine? Let's confirm. 172. This is the IP address 172.31.12.97. Are you getting the same IP address? Yes, that's a proof that you're connected. Perfect. You have successfully connected the Linux machine. I repeat it. Exit to disconnect and close one more time. I'll also show you one more time how to connect. So open the terminal putty. Putty is available in the downloads folder. So this putty.txt is available in the downloads folder. Open putty. Under host name, you have to select, you have to enter user and DNS. Under connection, and it should also request a key pair under connection, under SSH authentication credentials, upload the PPK file. That's nothing but a key pair. That's it. Here, putty, you have successfully, let's increase the font size. So participants, we have successfully connected to Linux machine. Got it? So the machine is available in Mumbai. I am in a different city, Hyderabad, and I have successfully connected to Linux machine and practicing how beautiful it is. I'm not providing my laptop RAM. I'm not providing 8 GB of hard disk. I'm not providing my laptop hardware. I'm using the hardware of AWS data center. Okay, so I'm consuming the AWS data center hardware, and I have created, as per my requirement, I have created Linux machine. So that's the beauty. So EC2 is a service which is used for creating machines. It's up to you how to use this particular machine, is it? So these machines are called as instances. Okay, these machines are called as instances. As I told you, I can say it as instance. I can also say it as server because let's say in this machine, if I install Tomcat, in this particular Linux machine, if I install Tomcat, that becomes a Tomcat server. Okay, if I install Oracle, that becomes a database server. So how do you want to use this machine? That's up to us. That's why these are called as servers. People call it as servers, a Linux server or Windows server. It's up to how to use it. But this is now a plain operating system. So participants, so we have learned how to create a new AWS account from the beginner point of view, especially for the participants who are joining newly. We also have learned the process of creating a Linux machine. We also have learned how can we connect to the Linux machine using the terminal called as putty. Okay, so let's proceed and get started with the basics of Linux. I want to proceed with basics of Linux as we are anyways connected. Let's learn the process of creating it. Let's learn the process of creating. Let's learn the basic Linux commands because it's very important for every DevOps engineer. Why did we create a Linux machine? Because every DevOps engineer should be comfortable with Linux commands. Let's proceed and get started with creating a Linux command. The first command which I want to show you is to how to create a file in Linux. The first command which I want to show you how to create a file, in Linux. The name of the file which I want to create is F1. F1 is the name of the file which I want to create. So how to create a file in Linux? Whenever you want to create a file in Linux, we have a command called cat. I'll be a little fast. Okay, I'll be a little fast in explaining you Linux commands. Please focus and take the benefit of recorded sessions because you can replay the recording. Okay, so that's the advantage. So I'll be a little fast because they are very simple. If it is simple, I'll be a little fast. Okay, so anyways, if you have any question, you can raise your hand. We'll have an interaction. That's okay. So let's proceed and go ahead and create a file. I want to create a file in Linux. The name of the file which I want to create is F1. So we have a command called cat command. So cat is a command which is used for creating a new file. Okay, so you have to use the syntax is cat greater than file name. This is the syntax of how to create a new file. So as per our requirement, I'm writing a cat greater than the name of the file which I want to create is F1. This helps you to create a file. So let's proceed and go ahead and create a file. So I'm using the command called cat, use the greater than symbol, mention the file which you want to create. I want to create a file F1. So remember the file gets created. The file gets created. My control will enter into the file. And why are we creating a file? The main purpose of the creating file is to save some data, isn't it? So this is the content which I want to enter into my file. So I want to mention it as welcome to this is day 2 of DevOps course. All the best. My best. So this is the 4 lines of content I want to write it in the file F1 and how to come out of the cat command. You're done with creating a file. I want to create a file. I want to write some content into that file. How to come out of the cat command? If you want to come out of the cat command, use Control D. The moment I type Control D, I'm out from the cat command. I'm getting the dollar prompt back. So Control D. We have Control key. Isn't it Control D? Okay, so which helps you to come out of the cat command. I'm done with creating a file. So I have created a file called F1. I want to create one more file. Let's go ahead, create cat greater than I want to create a file F2. So whatever the content you want, participants, whatever the content you want, you have write it in the file. Okay, once you are done with writing the content, how to come out of the cat command, Control D to come out of the cat command. I'm back to my dollar prompt. So this is how you can create a file in Linux. How many files we have created? 2 files we have created, F1 and F2. How to see list of all the files? We have a command called ls stands for list, which will give you a list of all the files. It is very simple that as we all know that we have created 2 files and F1 and F2. So ls is a command stands for list. Ls is a command stands for list, which helps you to see list of all the files which you have created. So clear is a command which helps you to clear the screen. We have a command clear which helps you to clear the screen. We have a command called ls to see list of all the files we have created, F1 and F2. 2 files which we have created. I want to see the data in F1. File is already created. I want to read the data. I think this file F1, the first file which we have created F1, the first file which we have created F1 is having some 4 lines of content, isn't it? Good morning, welcome to day 2. Okay, thank you, Mrs. I want to see the content present in the file F1. If you want to read the content, cat F1. Don't use greater than symbol. Greater than symbol, you have to use it only if you're planning to create a new file. If you're creating a new file, please then use greater than symbol. I am not creating a new file. I want to see the data present in the file F1. Just write cat F1 to read the data. You can see here, welcome to day 2, all the best, thank you, and I will give my best. So are you able to see the data? So cat is used to read the data. Cat is used for creating the file, but when you're creating a file, you have to use a symbol called greater than. In the same, I want to read the data in F2. Yes, go ahead and create cat, just write F2. Are you able to see the data? Yes, perfect. So you also know how to read the data present in the file F2. How to remove a file? Let's say we have 2 files now, F1 and F2. I'm not happy with the file F2. I don't want F2. I can remove a file. Whenever you have to remove a file, we have a command called rm. We have a command called rm, stands for remove, and mention the file name. Mention the file name whichever you want to remove. So for example, I want to remove the second file F2, so use the command rm followed with F2. So participants command has been successfully executed. We are able to remove the file. We can verify it by using ls. Previously list is listing out 2 files. Now your list is having only one file F1. So we have successfully removed the file. So you know how to create a file, how to see the data present in the file, how to see the data present in the file, and how can we remove the file, isn't it? So we are now comfortable with basics of how to create a file and how can we read the file. How you may have a question, how can we edit a file? Participants, you may have a question. Sunil, I want to change the data. We have an editor, no doubt. We have a popular editor called VI stands for visual editor. We'll be showing you soon. Okay, so this is how you can create a file. Okay, now observation. Next important point. In Linux, we can create file. We can create file in two ways. Participants, we can create file in two ways. One is just now we have learned use cat greater than, mention the file name, which this is one way of creating a file. The second way of creating a file by using touch command. The second way of creating a file is using touch command. I want to create a file with the name F3. I want to create a file with F3 by using touch commands. Yes, you can do it pretty simple. Use the command touch, mention the file which you want to create F3. So this helps you to create a new file with the name F3. Let's experience it. Touch. File created. LS. Can you see file created? Perfect. We have successfully created a file. So F1, F1 we have created using the cat command, and F2 we have F3 we have created by using the touch command. Have you observed the difference? I'll create one more file F4 with using touch command. Touch F4. I got created. So F3 and F4 we have created by using touch command. Have you observed the difference? The difference is when you're creating a file, let's say when we have created file using F1 by using cat command, what's happening here? The file gets created, control will enter into the file, and I'm writing some 5 lines of content. Good morning, welcome to day 3 DevOps course, and thank you. And control D. We have used a keyword control D to come out to the cat command. So cat command is used to create a file. Immediately file gets created, your control will enter into the file, you'll write some contents, and then you'll come out to the file. Whereas touch command is used to create an empty file. So this file F3 and F4, is it prompting you to enter some details? No, it's not doing that. It's an empty file. So in Linux, whenever you want to create a file, first later you want to open the file and edit some content, you can do that. But immediately, if your requirement is to just to create a file, okay, so go ahead and create a touch command. If you want to create a file as well as you want to instantly you want to write some data into the file, then go ahead and create a file by using cat command. So there are two ways of creating the file by using the cat command. The other way of creating the file is by using the touch command. I hope I'm very clear. How can we remove a file? We already have learned. How can we remove the file? You can remove it by using the same command rm followed with the file name F4 to remove the file. The file has been removed. Now list. Now we have left over with only two files, F1 and F3. Perfect. So this is how to deal with files. This is how to deal with files. Let's go ahead and deal with directories. Let's go ahead and create a directory. What do you mean by directory? Directory is nothing but you can compare as folder. You can visualize as a folder. In Windows, we have folders, right? In Windows, we can have folders, isn't it? Can you see here? So in E drive, so there are several folders. This is a folder for 6 a.m. batch. This is a folder for 6 p.m. batch. This is a folder for 11 a.m. Okay, so folders are nothing but files, collection of files, isn't it? In one folder, we can have any number of files. Agree? In the same way, so in Linux, folders are called as directories. I want to create a directory. So I want to create a directory. So how can we create a directory? We have a command called mkdir and mention the directory name which you want to create. So this is how you can create a directory. So my requirement, I want to create a directory with the name D1. Can I create a directory? Yes, you can go ahead and create a directory. I have already shown you the syntax. Very simple. Mkdir stands for make directory and mention the name of the directory which you want to create. So that's it. You are done with creating a directory. So let's experience it. I want to create a directory. I'm writing a command called mkdir, stands for make directory. Mention the name of the directory which you want to create, cd1. So this helps you to create a directory. Participants, I'm done. I'm done with creating a directory. Can I see the directory? Yes, the same command, list command, which we have used before, which will show you not only files, it will also show you the directories information. Also, list will show you list of all the files and directories. You can see F1 and F3 are the files, and D1 is a directory which we have just now created. So list will help you to see list of all the directories, files and directories. Also, a very important observation, the directories are represented in a different color just for our identification, for our comfort sake. Directories are represented in blue color where the files are represented in black and white. So I can create one more directory, mkdir D2, I can create one more directory. Now we have two files and two directories. Okay, so this is how you can create a directories also. Can you remove the directory? The purpose of directory is we can place some files inside the directories, isn't it? We can go ahead and create some files. No doubt, I'll show you how to enter into the directory and how can we place files in this directory. But can we remove the directory? Yes. RMDIR, remove directory. MKDIR for making the directory. RMDIR for removing the directory. Mention the directory which you want to remove. Let's say I want to remove the second directory. You can do that. I want to remove the second directory, D2. You can do that. DIR. Removed. Now there is no directory D2. We have removed. We are left over in T1 and rest of files. Okay. So this is how you can create directories and you can also remove the directories. And remember, once you're done practicing, once you're doing hands-on, once you're done, let's say I'm done with my practice session, I'm done with hands-on. So you want to you have to disconnect it. The right way of disconnecting is exit to disconnect the connection to that particular Linux cloud machine. So disconnect, the connection has been disconnected. Whenever you want, you can connect it again. Next point, especially for the newcomers who are completely new to AWS, after practicing, don't sign out. Don't sign out. The machine is in running state. Okay, after practicing, what you have to do, you have to stop the machine. It's a good practice. Don't sign up because it is free. Don't misuse it. It's good practice to stop the machine. Now I'm showing you how to stop the machine. So select the machine, whichever you want to stop. There is an option called, under instance state, we have an option called stop. Okay, and click on stop. Less than a minute. Within a minute, the machine will be stopped. Okay, so machine is stopping. You can see the status is stopping. Within a minute, the machine will be stopped. Okay, so always stop the machine whenever you are done with practice. Whenever you want to connect, please start again. Okay. You can see the machine is stopped. Okay. So tomorrow we will be connecting again. We'll be continuing. So what I'll do, I'll be using the same machine. We'll be using the same machine tomorrow. So tomorrow what we'll do, we have an option called start. Again, we'll be starting the same machine and we'll be continuing our learning of Linux machine. When you do not want this machine permanently, when you want to delete the machine permanently, there's an option called terminate. Terminating is all about removing the machine permanently whenever you don't want. I don't want to remove it. I want to use the same machine tomorrow as well. So please be careful. After stopping the machine, then only please sign out. Remember in which region your machine is created, in which data set the machine is created. So make sure you will be using the same data set every day. Okay. So I am done with my agenda for today's session. Please respond in the chat box. Am I clear? Am I meeting your expectation with respect to today's agenda? We are all now confident in explaining you how to create a machines in AWS, especially for the beginners. We are all now clear in how to create a new AWS account. If you're not having an AWS account, please go ahead, create an AWS account. So we are now know how to create Linux machine. You know how to connect to that Linux machine using the terminal called putty, and we have started hands-on with respect to Linux commands. So plan for tomorrow, we completely deep dive into the Linux commands tomorrow. Entire 1 hour session. Quickly, we'll learn the process of creating files, directories, how to enter into the files, how to change the directories. So much more interesting, frequently used options of frequently used Linux commands are the plan for tomorrow session. Any questions before closing? Any questions? Please raise your hand. So please, if you have taken a decision, please complete the payment formalities. Anyways, tomorrow is also a demo. You can experience the training session tomorrow also. I'm just showing you how to make the payment. If you want to enroll for this particular course, the URL is logiclabstech.com. This is the URL. I hope you already know. This is a URL. And one more important point. So uh, I hope you know it. There is a WhatsApp group created for this particular WhatsApp community, which is created for this particular batch. I hope you are already in the WhatsApp community. If you are not in the WhatsApp community, please join the WhatsApp community using the link below. Okay, this is just for your information. Next point, if you want to complete the payment, enroll for this particular course. So go to the site logiclabstech.com, go for upcoming batches. And this is the batch which we have started, AWS Devops. And here we have an option called payment link. Click on the payment link. Scroll down, you can buy this course. The course fees is 7,080. Okay, so click on this and check out, and you have to log in with your Google Gmail. You can see continue with Google. You can go ahead and continue with Google. The moment you click on continue with Google, you'll get a QR code. You can make the payment using Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm. You can internet banking. For international participants, you can make the payment from the credit card, international credit cards. Okay, yes, Divya.
Yeah, hi Sunil. Very good morning. And actually, yesterday you have listed the DevOps tools. So,
Okay.
in those tools, if we learn, we can do the DevOps certification or any idea what it would be.
Okay, okay. So Divya, this training is not from the certification point of view. Okay,
Okay,
this training is from the job market point of view. Okay, project point of view. So that the objective is to clear the interview. Okay,
okay,
so
okay,
the approach from the certification point of view is different. The approach from the job point of view or subject point of view is different. Okay, so this training, to an extent, you can understand, but you cannot guarantee clear certification clearance because the content is different for certification. Okay,
okay,
probably 20-30% you can, 30 to 35% you can appear the you can answer the questions from the certification point of view, but the remaining 70% you cannot appear for the certification. So this training is not from the certification point of view. So
okay,
you have to look for some other content available, material
okay.
available. To there is something called dumps. You have to prepare for the dumps and clear the certification. But this training is from the real time point of view. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood. And the thing is, if I'm working in AWS environment, so
Hmm.
in that AWS environment, I have to move for development. For already, I am AWS Solution Architect certificate person.
Okay.
So again, I need to upgrade my skill and I go for next level certification. Which one is preferable? Like
You are
person
already
asking.
AWS solutions architect, right, Divya?
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
enough. That
Okay,
certification is enough for DevOps. Okay.
okay,
Okay. So there's no much importance in certification for DevOps. Okay. There's a
okay,
lot of importance for certification in the AWS cloud, but there's no
okay.
much importance in certification of DevOps. Okay. So more than certification, DevOps subject knowledge is important. Okay.
Okay, okay. So apart from for DevOps, as working, you want to working as a DevOps engineer, what are the list of the tools yesterday you have showed? That is enough for that, right?
That's enough. Yes,
We
you are
can,
right. Yes,
yeah.
you can
Okay,
appear for DevOps interview.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Prem, you are now allowed to talk. Please unmute. Prem, you have any question? I can see you. I can see you on chat. AWS architect is preferred. Swaminathan. Okay. Question, Prem? We cannot hear you. Okay, please check your mic settings. That's it. Thank you for joining today. See you tomorrow for complete practicals on Linux. Have a good time. Thank you very much.